Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing.
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I have 12 4th of July Dollar Tree DIYs for you. The theme today is traditional, patriotic, red, white, and blue. So let's get started with all new 4th of July DIYs. For the first one, I wanted to take 3 of the signs from the Dollar Tree and these little packaged wood stars from the Dollar Tree and make a large wall hanging that spells out USA. So I'm going to be using these square signs. They do have wood beads on them for hangers, but that's going to kind of get in the way for what I want to do. I want them to put them all together to make one large sign. And so I just go ahead and remove all of the beaded hangers with some pliers. These are the wood stars I'm using from the Crafter Square. I'm using a total of 4 bags of these to spell out USA. And I'm just going to kind of map them out a little bit. The U is really easy. The S required a little bit more thought, but I think that is the proper amount of stars to make that look like an S. And then the A, pretty easy as well. And mapping them out is always a good idea, so you have enough of those wooden stars painted or stained. I'm gonna kind of stain with paint. So I took some water and some blue paint. It wasn't quite dark enough. I wanted mine to be more of like the navy stars, like the flag is. And so I'm gonna simply mix some black with my blue, mix it up really good. I don't want it to be like partly blue, partly black on there. And I want to kind of create a stain for these. So I'm going to keep all my letters separate so I know exactly how many stars I needed for each one. I tried at first to use a sponge to do this, but then I quickly realized it's easier just to toss the little wood stars into the cup with the paint and the water and stain them that way. I'll just lay out a paper towel. That way I get a really nice stain on all of them, and it gets the edges of them too. Because they are kind of thick, these stars, and I want to make sure that those are painted too. And staining is just such a quick way. And look, you get that beautiful wood grain coming through. I just blotted all of mine with a paper towel once I got them stained, and I think that looks pretty good. I want to leave the signs white. I like the fact that they're white. But I want to add blue stars, and I'm going to add some red on there too for the frame. So I'm going to do the same thing here with the other 2 signs, just simply staining them all. And I really didn't mix up that much water and paint, but it really doesn't take that much. So I went ahead and had enough for all of my letters. And this is a way that like I like to stain like wood beads too, but with this it worked even better because you don't have to worry about like wet paint on the inside of the wood beads and stuff like that. So it worked pretty well. And if you wanted to do each of your letters a different color, you could. Since I already had a white sign, I didn't really want to do red, white, and blue because I didn't think that would make sense. And so I'm just going to do a red frame on all of them, blue stars, and then leave the background that kind of distressed white. I'm just using a makeup sponge and some red paint to kind of stain that frame as well. Just dragging it across the wood grain there, and it will kind of pick up that wood grain as well. Just be careful not to get any on your sign. If you remove that red paint quick enough, you won't have to worry about that. But I did it with all 3. And this is going to make a really nice wall hanging, really large, or you can even hang this on your door. It's pretty significant. So I have all of my letters stained so I can go ahead and start putting this sign together. I'm just going to kind of lay them out so I remember where exactly I want to glue them. When I go around a corner like this, I kind of tilt my stars a little bit. It made them fit a little better, and it gave a little bit of character too. I'm just going to glue one side, then glue the other to try to keep it a little bit symmetrical. They don't have to be perfect, but I've been looking for a use for these wood stars that I've been finding at the Crafter Square at Dollar Tree, and I thought spelling out USA would be a really fun way. And so here is the S. I'm going to go ahead and lay that out too, using the U for reference so I kind of know where I want my letters to start and stop as far as height. And I'm just going to take my time and glue these on. And since I have lots of curves on this one, I just kind of tilted the stars as I went, just kind of whatever made sense. And we just have one more letter to complete this large sign. So we have the A. The A, I had to get a little bit tighter here with them to get them all to fit. And I think that's going to work. And I just attached that too. What I want to do is use some ribbon to attach them all together like one long sign. And I also want to use a nice flag bow that I got from the Dollar Tree for the top for another festive touch. So I have all of those put together. Now it's time to put the whole thing together. So I'm going to first make a hanger. So I had removed the wood bead hanger from all of them. I just want a piece of twine. I just knotted one end and used my staple gun to staple that in here on the other side. You might be able to get away with hot glue, but I thought since I have the frame there, I could probably get away with using my staple gun on that because it would be thick enough there. And then I want them about 1.5 inches apart. So I went ahead and measured that so I could make them symmetrical. And I'm going to use this red and white flag striped ribbon. I think I actually got this on Temu. They have one that's similar from Dollar Tree that has the stars and the stripes on it that you could use as well. First, I used hot glue to attach them. And then I went back in with staples on the frame just to make sure it's really strong. Because the signs are rather big, I just wanted to make it as strong as I could. And I did the same thing here for the bottom sign. Now that I have them all glued and stapled, we can flip this over and attach the bow to the top. This is just a standard patriotic bow from the Dollar Tree. They come in a 2-pack. The only thing I don't like about it, it's got this gold foil like tie, and I don't really like that. It doesn't really fit the vibe of my project. So I'm going to replace that with some twine. So just keeping it all together, I'm going to use that same piece of twine to tie it to my hanger. Just tie it here on the front, flip it over, and tie it again here a couple times on the back. And that is the perfect final touch, I think, to our little Star USA sign. It turned out really cute, and I'm really glad that I crafted with those wood stars. It's something that you pick those things up at the Dollar Tree sometimes. You're like, oh, I'll need those. And then you're like, what in the world am I going to make with all of these wood stars? But this was a fun way to use them. Spelling out USA, it's very patriotic. And as you can see, it's a rather large piece. It takes up my entire hall tree there to show it to you. For this DIY, I picked up a silver plastic charger from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to turn it into a really beautiful centerpiece for my table. I thought that the silver would be great because it would be kind of reflective. I'm going to actually up that too. You'll see here in a minute. And I want to boost it up and make it taller. I'm going to do that with one of these candlesticks from the Dollar Tree. Now it's white. White could work for red, white, and blue, but I decided to make mine more of a navy color by spray painting it. And it's kind of got like a starburst pattern on this particular little candle holder. So I thought that would be perfect for the star and a base to lift it up. So I just gave it a coat of spray paint just because it was easy and I really had the right colors. So I think that looks really pretty. I do want the silver tray to be silver, but I'm actually going to spray paint it too, just with a thin coat of chrome spray paint because I want it to be reflective. Because we're going to be having a candle on the centerpiece, and I thought it would be really pretty for that to reflect off the surface. And I wasn't sure if the silver on the tray would be enough to make it reflective, so I went over it with a very thin coat of the chrome spray paint. And there was a few scratches on the charger from the Dollar Tree too, so this helped to repair it as well. This was the only one left at my store, and I think this is a really great use for this. Now I'm going to use some stronger glue. I went around the outside of it with some Gorilla Glue Clear Grip using a double-sided tape here in the middle with a tiny bit of hot glue to get us started and laying the charger right on top, trying to make sure that I get that centered. And I think this is going to be the perfect base for my centerpiece. It's looking really pretty. I love the chrome finish on that. For the centerpiece, I want to make a candle ring to hold my candle. So I actually picked up some of this grapevine on Temu. I used to be able to find the little grapevine wreath forms at the Dollar Tree, but I have not found them there forever. So I picked up some of this. It is kind of a do-it-yourself grapevine wreath, which will work. It's about what I need, the right size. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it in half because that's about all I'm going to need to make a wreath. And I'm going to use some really pretty florals that I found from the Dollar Tree and one of these glass candle holders. I'm just going to go ahead and remove the tag real quick here on the bottom of this one. And I also found a red candle from the Dollar Tree. The flowers on this one were kind of my inspiration piece, and they're like dark red, white, and like a navy. So I'm trying to keep with that color scheme a little bit. So I think that this is going to work really well to make a little grapevine wreath. I just made sure to tighten it up. To wire it, I'm actually using some of the berry garland from Dollar Tree. That's going to provide another little pop of red. It's a little bit more red than the rest that I'm using, but I kind of liked the variety of colors in it. I'm just going to use that to wire my wreath form together. So it'll blend in. The brown does a great job blending in with the grapevine, and the red gives the little pops of berries around. So I think that looks really pretty. I went around once and thought, I want even more. So I went around one more time. I had plenty with just one package of the berry garland, and we have a little wreath form. Now to decorate it with this, it's called a heather bush. It has red, white, and blue. I thought this would be really pretty. I'm just going to cut it a little bit under where the flower is, and using hot glue, I'm kind of putting that into my wreath form, just working in one direction, white, red, and blue. I tried to mess up my pattern here, but I caught myself before I got too far. And I want to go around just slightly overlapping it and shaping it as I go. And this is going to provide a fun, like classic candle ring that I think is going to look really pretty around the candle on that like centerpiece. And so I think that's enough. It did require a little bit of shaping and rearranging the flowers a little bit so they will lay a little bit tighter to the wreath form and take on that more circular shape. But I was able to do that without too much trouble. I didn't really need to wire them or anything. I just did a little bit of shaping, and I think that that's going to work just fine. And it's the perfect size to go around that little candle holder from the Dollar Tree. So I want to test that out. I think that's going to work. It's going to fill up the star nicely. This is a candle that I found. It's a nice scented candle from the Dollar Tree, and it's got kind of an interesting shape, almost a little bit like a firework with the cone top on there. I thought that would be really pretty, and I'm also going to take some white sand from the Dollar Tree and just put that underneath of it. Since I have the navy for the candle holder itself down below, red candle, white sand, so we have the red, white, and navy color scheme. I'll just place that right in there, and this DIY is complete. I think this is going to look really cute on my table for the 4th of July. It's really pretty during the day. This is what it looks like during the day. And I think the chrome paint did make it a little bit more reflective. It gave it that mirror finish that I was looking for. And I'm kind of glad that I painted the candlestick navy as well. I think it looks really pretty like that. So it's really beautiful during the day, and then I love how it looks at night. The chrome finish really does reflect the light from the candle, kind of like a mirror, and makes it look really pretty, almost magical. And I love that heather from the Dollar Tree. We're going to be using that again in today's video. I think it's really pretty for a Dollar Tree floral for sure. And this is how my centerpiece turned out. For the next DIY, I picked up this great frame from the Dollar Tree. It's very ornate. It is plastic, but it's got so much charm and detail. And it's also got a star print on it. So I thought, ooh, this might be cute for the 4th of July. So I am just going to simply take it apart, and I want to paint it and then use a window decal from the Dollar Tree to make some 4th of July art. I am going to spray paint this. It is white with a gold trim. I want mine to be a blue color with a white trim. There is the border around the inside has stars on it, and so that kind of inspired me to do blue and white on this one. And this isn't like a really dark navy color of spray paint. It is more of a dark blue. I think this turned out really pretty. There are lots of little nooks and crannies on here, so I had to make sure that I got my spray paint into all of them. I thought spray paint would just be the easiest way to paint this for sure. And then for the background, I want to use some red burlap. So I'm just going to take a scrap piece of this red burlap from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut it out a little bit larger than I need here, where I can cut it down to size, just using a chalk pencil to kind of map out the size on that. I didn't really need to iron it. It might have made cutting it a little bit easier, but I'm just going to go ahead and cut out the rectangular shape. I thought having the blue and white frame and having the red burlap background would look really cute behind the window decal, and it wouldn't be too crazy because I'm going to attach the window decal to the glass itself, so I don't think that the red will show through the window decal too much. That looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and attach it with some Mod Podge. So I just go over the back of the cardboard on the frame and simply cover that piece of it, stretching the burlap out to cover the entire thing, making sure it lays flat. And I had to attach a little bit more Mod Podge to one side to make that happen. Once I get it glued on there and dried, I can just flip it over and cut off any excess burlap so it will still fit into the frame. Now, I did think about not putting a back on this since I am using a window decal. I could have like a sign that you could see all the way through, but I really wanted to use it as a frame and use the stand. So I decided to give it a fun texture for a background using the red burlap. So I'm just going to clean the glass that came on it, and we're going to use this American Vibes window decal. I thought this was really cute, with a little smiley face and the peace sign. And I'm just going to simply apply that to the glass itself. And I think that's going to look really cute. Now for the frame, I want to bring out all the great details on this. So I'm just taking some white acrylic paint and a makeup sponge and dragging it all over all of the fun details. Now you can see that great star pattern on the middle section that frames it out, that really makes it look patriotic. But I also go over all of the ornate detail on here as well. And I think that really made it so pretty. I know it's a plastic frame, but I think it just looks so nice when I am done distressing it. And see how much character distressing it, making it two-tone like that, really brings it out. See the star pattern on there? I think that's really cute. Now that I have that painted and dried, I can go ahead and add my glass to it. I noticed the glass that's in there a little funny, so I'm going to try to move that over a little bit so it will be centered, and then I place that in there and my burlap covered back to the frame. I can just go ahead and reattach that back here, and I'm going to use the stand itself to stand this up, and just a really simple little patriotic sign. I absolutely love how it turned out, and I love the American Vibes little window decal. I think that's super cute. I just get it exactly where I want it. Since it's on glass, it should stay on there just fine. And I like the contrast of the red burlap there in the background. It just makes it look a little bit more high end, I think. I love crafting with window decals from the Dollar Tree and of course their frames. Look how beautiful that turned out. Very patriotic, so cute. I did think about putting the window decal under the glass, but I kind of wanted to pull it away from the burlap a little bit so that it didn't really show through the white background on that. For this DIY, I want to take 4 of the little mini pallets from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to make a fun hanging planter for the 4th of July. I want one of these to be on each side, and I want the larger pallets to be here on the outside. So it's a little bit more simple, and I'm going to attach it like that. So and one side will be a little bit longer. It'll be a little bit rectangular in shape. I just glue that on there, kind of matching it up end to end there to form a 90-degree angle there, where I want the width of it to be a little bit wider. So I'm going to have one of those glued on each side, if that makes sense, like that. And I am just using hot glue to attach these together. I'm going to be using faux florals from the Dollar Tree and foam, so it doesn't have to be super sturdy. If you wanted to reinforce yours with some wood glue or some nails, you really could. And then for this piece, I need to kind of sandwich it in here. I put hot glue on each side and kind of open it up and put that right inside, forming the structure of our little hanging planter. Now, I want to do something else for the bottom of it because I couldn't get another one of those to fit perfectly on there because I made the rectangular shape. But first, I'm going to stain it. I wanted to go ahead and glue it first because when I stain it with the paint, it was going to make the hot glue a little bit harder to stick to it. And I just find that wood items glue better that way. So once I get it all put together, I just made a paint stain out of some red acrylic paint mixed with water. It's going to be really thin, which is going to make it easier to paint the inside of the pallets here too, where it would be a little bit harder to paint. And I'm going to go over all four sides, inside and outside of the pallet board signs. I really want everything to look like it's stained red. So it's not going to be a real bright red. It's going to be more of a stained red wood, which I really like that effect. And I'm also going to be adding some of the wood stars from the Dollar Tree to give it a fun patriotic touch. But first I had lots of areas to go in here with my brush to make sure that I got every single part of this covered. And you could do it navy or blue as well if you'd like. For the bottom of it, I'm just going to use one of the flexible cutting mats from the Dollar Tree. And I actually had one in red. Sometimes they come in colors. So I thought might as well match the box, but you could always do one of their frosted ones as well. These work great for little planter bottoms because you can't really see them, and it provides a great bottom that's really easy to cut down to size. So I just cut out a little rectangular piece that will fit, and I'm just going to use hot glue to glue that little cutting mat there on the bottom. I kind of focused on the insides of the pallet boards there. As you can see, it's a little bit thick. Then I can go in and kind of trim it up and glue down the corners to make sure that it's going to be really secure. And we're going to be using that heather from the Dollar Tree in red, white, and blue to add to this. But first, some stars. I wanted to do some white stars. I thought that would look really pretty against the stained red wood. So I'm going to use these little wall hangings they have this year at the Dollar Tree and just simply remove them from the little wall hanging and remove the staples here from the back. The Cricut weeder works great for that, those tiny staples. And I can glue one of these on each side. The front and the back are kind of the wider sides, so that is what I'm going to decorate. And it's going to be a hanging sign, so I want it to be pretty on both sides. I just simply used hot glue to attach my wood star to that side. As you can see, it's the perfect size for these little mini pallets from the Dollar Tree. And I attach one there to the other side as well. Now I do want this to be a hanging planter, so I do need to take some twine. You could also use chain for this if you'd like, but I find twine a little bit easier to work with. I can just feed it through the pallet here on the sign and double tie this and use that same piece to go to the other side, creating like half of the hanger. I'm going to do the same thing over here on the opposite corner, just double tying that. And then I will do the opposite corners and we can tie it all together at the top. And I thought it would be easier to do this before I start filling it up with florals because I don't really have anything to get in my way. One of my was a little bit longer than the other, so I did tie it together here at the top to make sure that it's going to hang balanced, and I think that's going to work. I just burned off any fuzzies there on my twine with a lighter, and now we can fill this up with florals. But I think it looks really cute. I've been wanting to make a little hanging planter like this for a while, and I'm glad I finally got an excuse to make one. I just cut down some of the Dollar Tree floral foam, and we are just going to use the heather. This time I'm going to leave the greenery on this. I think that's really pretty. And I'm going to use all red, white, and blue and just start scattering this around. I notice there's less blue than there are red and white on these. And so I'll only have a couple of the blue, but I think that that's going to be fine. I do like the greenery in that, and I'm just going to keep filling it, scattering those in there until I think it's full enough. And then I use a little bit of the floral moss from the Dollar Tree to cover up any foam that might be visible. Really cute. You could use this indoors, outdoors. If you had it like maybe on a porch or something like that, I think that would look really cute hanging there. I think that's where I'm going to put mine. But this is how it turned out. I love that heather, the red, white, and blue. I think that's really pretty. And I love crafting with those like little mini pallets from the Dollar Tree. There's so many fun ideas you can come up with. And here is just a little mini planter. And I love those wood stars from the Dollar Tree. They come in red, white, and blue, and they are great for crafting. This DIY, I want to make like a little candle from the Dollar Tree, a patriotic candle. So I'm going to use one of their wood candle holders and one of their galvanized metal stars. Now these galvanized metal pieces at my stores are only $1 right now. And I love these candlesticks. These are some of my favorite to craft with. I think I'm going to actually have mine be upside down. I liked the shape of that better. It is black, and I am just going to go over mine with some dark blue spray paint to give it that flag blue color that I like. And I'm going to use the galvanized metal for the candle itself. And I want to decorate it, add a little pop of color. So I got some red and blue star ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to simply use some hot glue and decorate the outside of that. I think that the metal tray will be fine for a candle itself, and that's going to be the top of our little candle holder. So this is like an easier version of the centerpiece that I did, and it is just a little bit easier and smaller. So I just glue that all the way around, overlapping it just a little bit here with the ribbon. And now we can start putting it together. Metal is a little hard to hot glue, so I use some Gorilla Glue Clear Grip first and a little hot glue here in the middle. And I'm just going to lay my galvanized metal star tray right on top. Now make sure you don't have any holes in this if you're going to use sand like I did. I used the red sand from the Dollar Tree, but I did go around and fill up. I had like one hole in mine with some hot glue first so it doesn't just pour out when you add the sand to it. And then I'm going to use a white candle from the Dollar Tree, but I am going to decorate that a little bit to make it look patriotic as well. But I think that that's going to fit in there nicely. And candles and sands always work really well. So I wanted to give it some flag stripes since I already have the dark blue for the candle holder itself, the red sand. I thought we could do some red and white stripes really easily. So I just used some painter's tape, and I'm going to tape off a couple of flag stripes on here. And I'm just going to use some acrylic paint to paint the outside of the candle. I've used acrylic paint on candles before, usually don't have any trouble burning them, and so I think this will work out really well. I just take one of the little stencil daubers from the Dollar Tree and some red acrylic paint, and I just went all over with one coat of paint to give us some flag stripes. So just another little fun patriotic touch, but you can just take a plain candle like this from the Dollar Tree and add that. If you're able to find a red candle, you could also add some white stripes and get the same effect. So I'm just going to peel that off, and I have some really cute little flag stripes on this. Makes it look a little bit more patriotic. And I'm going to add that there to the sand in my DIY candle holder. This DIY was so easy to make, and I really love how it turned out. I will show you what it looks like lit up as well. But it was really easy to make with one of those galvanized metal stars. So if you have one in your stash, or if you're able to find one at Dollar Tree, I've really been trying to stack up on any of the galvanized metal products that I want, since they're only a quarter right now, so they're probably not going to be in Dollar Tree for long. And this is what it looks like lit up. The flag stripes on the candle really look pretty, and this is a smaller candle. You could use this for decor just about anywhere. I think I'm actually going to put mine on my kitchen counter. I always like to have a little bit of whatever season it is, in my kitchen, my bathroom, areas like that, because I think it's really fun. Here are some more 4th of July DIYs I've done here on my channel. This is the wind chime kit that I actually got the little wood circle from. I'm going to use that, 2 of the wood boxes from the Dollar Tree, one with a star cut out because I thought that would be really fun for the 4th of July. And I'm going to actually put those together, and I kind of wanted to cover up the handle holders here in this one. And I do have some of the wood dominoes from Dollar Tree from the toy section. I haven't found these forever, but I love crafting with these, but it's probably not necessary, but I am going to go ahead and close this up. At least from the inside, by hot gluing those over the handles. And the reason I am going to leave the stars open is because, of course, that's festive for the 4th of July, right? What I want to do is also try to seal this from the outside, and I have found that using masking tape actually works pretty well for this. I've built other items like this before. What we're building today is a patriotic wheelbarrow planter. So, I have another DIY video where I made a little red wagon for the 4th of July that I filled with fireworks. And so this is kind of a bigger project than that, but I love how it turned out. So just using a couple pieces of masking tape on both sides, trying to make sure they kind of start and stop at the corner. That's going to be an easier transition for the tape. And just trying to clean up any excess tape on that. I want a big like looking planter, so I'm going to stack 2 of these on top of each other to make it look bigger for my wheelbarrow. And the little ship wheel is actually going to be the wheel for the front of it. So I want to attach these together. Since this is going to be outdoors, I kind of wanted to weigh down the bottom. And since there's not going to be anything in that part, I thought Dollar Tree rocks would be perfect. So I just put some rocks in there to weigh it down so the wind doesn't blow it over, was my intention with that. I like to weigh down my outdoor DIYs if I can. And then I do a bead of hot glue all the way around on the top edge, and we are going to sit the star tray on top. I did make sure these were almost exactly the same size. I noticed there's a lot of size variations with these, but I got pretty close here. I do want to try to cover the seam here between the 2 wood boxes too, but I don't want to cover up that star. So I'm going to try to go below that and just try to cover up that seam a little bit more with the masking tape, and try to make it look like one big planter box. Now it's time to start painting everything. This DIY has lots of pieces and things going on, so I wanted to get a head start on painting everything. So I'm using like a fire red acrylic. I want this to be a bright red wheelbarrow, and we're actually going to be doing a flag design on the sides as well with Dollar Tree napkins again. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint the sides. I'm going to paint the bottom. I'm even going to paint the inside just because I want it to be a really finished product. And next year, if I want to use it for something else, like not a planner, I'll already have like a painted red inside. And so I won't have to worry about that if you could see it. But today we're going to be using it for a planter. So just painting the inside is going to be a little bit extra. I did notice that the masking tape didn't take the paint quite as well, so I did go over the masking tape with another coat of red. And then I'm just doing the top. At first I wasn't going to do the inside, but I'm glad that I did. It just makes it look so much more finished. And also using a smaller brush, I'm going to just kind of paint the inside of the stars as well. I want to do a red, white, and blue wheelbarrow DIY for this. And so this is the wheelbarrow part where it's going to be the planter. So I'm going to make it red. I'm going to make the wheel navy. And then I'm going to make like the handles white for my red, white, and blue theme for this. And it just turned out so cute. It took me a while to put this DIY together, but I'm very happy with how it turned out. So these are little bamboo pieces that I actually get on Amazon. I love the fact that they're flat, but you could always use dowels or whatever you have for this. They're also nice and long, so they're longer than popsicle sticks. I do have these linked in my Amazon shop. I craft with these things all the time. I really love them. I am painting them white acrylic. The bamboo is kind of like a little bit, feels like it's kind of sealed, so it does take a couple of coats to get those good and white. And then this is the flag napkins that I picked up at the Dollar Tree that I want to use on the sides. So it's a little shorter than the side of the wood crate, but that's okay. And I really didn't mean to paint the sides of them that we're going to have the napkin on them, because I think that red's really going to kind of show through the white stripes, the white stars on the flag. So I'm going to go ahead and do a couple coats of white on both sides just to give me kind of a clean canvas behind the decoupage. I don't know what I was thinking. I could have just left these parts like natural on the sides, but since the napkin doesn't go all the way, I did put down some painter's tape so I could at least have red corners on it. So this is going outside and it's a wheelbarrow. I really want it to be pretty from every direction. So I'm going to do the same thing here on the other side. We're going to have a flag over here as well to make it look super patriotic. And covering up that red, I did have to do a couple coats of white. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it is going to make the decoupage look better. So an important step. So we have all of those done. This is what we're going to use to make the wheel. You could also use this in the smaller, the little charms, the shore living line, if you can find it. This was a summer wind chime, and I'm going to just try to cut off the little knobs around the sides, and it's going to make a wood wheel that is going to be just the right size, I think, for this wheelbarrow. since it is a wind chime, it has like some odd holes in it to hang it. So I do have to kind of fill those in with a little bit of spackle. So I'm going to have like a solid surface, but you can kind of see the tire pattern that's in the ship wheel, right? So I think that's going to be a really cool wheel. And for some reason they have writing on them. I don't know why. So I did have to go over that with a couple coats of white just to cover that up before we start painting this piece too. So the wheelbarrow itself is red and white. The handles, those long pieces of bamboo, are white. And then we're doing this one in navy. And you can always mix up your shades of blue. Sometimes I do. Going really traditional with these 4th of July DIYs, so I thought I would stick to that navy color. I think that looks really good. And just using a makeup sponge, we're going to paint both sides of it. Super easy to paint with this raw wood. It just soaks up that acrylic paint. Now that I have it painted, I'm going to start trimming it. So just regular heavy-duty scissors. These are like my KitchenAid scissors that I use for crafting. They're super strong, cuts right through that thin Dollar Tree wood. And I can cut all those little handles off my ship wheel, and it's going to give me a round tire. Now, I did do a little bit of sanding to try to make it a little bit rounder. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I think I got it pretty good. And that did expose a little bit of wood from cutting those off. So I'm just going to touch that up with a little bit more of the navy paint until the whole thing is blue. Now, I'm trying to paint all of my pieces first before we start assembling them. I will have more pieces that we'll have to kind of add as I try to figure out how exactly I want to build this. This is kind of a plan I came up with myself, so it was a little trial and error for the build, but I was able to get it to work. Now, this is the napkin with a flag design I love. And just using a piece of that tape, I'm using that to help me separate my 2 layers. And I'm just going to need 2 of those for 2 of the flag patterns. You could always use like scrapbook paper or try painting the flag on yourself too. But I already have these napkins, so I thought these would be perfect and an easy way to do the flag pattern. Just trying to make sure my sides are straight because you're going to be able to see those. The top and the bottom will be excess napkin, so that will get cut off. And we're just going to Mod Podge this on. I did not use my dishwasher safe Mod Podge on this one. I don't know why. I should have. I do end up sealing the whole project though, so maybe it doesn't matter. But I just did a thin coat here on the white side of my wheelbarrow and just lay that on there. I want like the blue and white stars to be up upper left-hand side. And just smoothing that on with my new toy brayer. And then I go over it once it was dry with another thin coat of Mod Podge. And I think that looks really cute. It really gave a lot of personality and character to the wheelbarrow. And just carefully using my sanding sponge there to remove the excess napkin from the top and the bottom. And that side looks pretty good. Now, originally in my plan, I wanted the wheel to be functional and to turn. I was able to do that with my little red wagon. With this one, I wasn't able to pull it off. I think it's because that little ship wheel was so thin. And in my plan, I wanted it to work, but I ended up having to make it stationary, which is going to make it way more stable to be outside. So I don't know. I don't really need it to work. I was just trying to be extra. But I put some Mod Podge here on the other side and lay my other napkin right on top. And we're going to do the same steps. Just bray it on there. Give it a quick dry. Sand off the excess napkin, but not until I just go ahead and do a coat on top. I don't always do a coat on top if I'm doing a napkin, but definitely outside, I definitely wanted to seal that napkin on there with that beautiful flag pattern. So as you can see, lots of steps involved in this one. And I was like, this was the part where I was trying to make my wheel functional. So I did have a dowel. I painted it white because I wanted the dowel to go through the center of the wheel and make it turn. But I'm going to kind of cut that part out because it didn't work. Now this is the handle part. It's also going to go all the way through and hook to the tire part of the wheelbarrow. So I needed 2 of them. They're a little bit longer than I need, so I'm just going to use my miter scissors just to cut off a little bit of the length. And I think that looks pretty good. I want them to go like that, kind of in a triangular pattern. And to make some extra braces and to make some legs for the wheelbarrow, I'm going to be using some of the little Jenga blocks from the Dollar Tree, the little tiny ones. I'm going to paint 2 of them red, at least the visible parts. I'm going to leave one side just regular wood. And then these 2 are going to be the legs. I ended up needing 4 instead of 2. So if you are following step by step, be sure to paint 4 of these white. Because if you only do these small legs, it sits like level, and a wheelbarrow is supposed to be slanted. So I did have to make the legs longer by doubling up the Jenga blocks. But they required a couple coats of white. It seems like that acrylic paint really soaked in with them. And then the red pieces are actually for braces to hold the white handles and bars. It's going to form the structure of the wheelbarrow underneath. And this is kind of my plan. So let's go ahead and get started. It's really important to get this little white piece in the right place. I kind of lay it out how I want and do a bead of hot glue right where I want it. I'm going to be attaching the bamboo on its side just like this, which isn't super sturdy, which is why I have these little red braces that we made with the Jenga blocks. We're gluing that to the white bamboo piece and also to the wood box like that. And then we're going to do the same thing here on the other side. Now it's really important to get this exactly right. So I'm going to go ahead and sketch it out with a pencil first so I know exactly where to put my hot glue on this one so I can keep everything kind of even. And I wanted a little space there at the end for my axle, for my tire, but I ended up having to actually just use Jenga blocks to kind of make the tire more stationary. But I did originally do it with the dowel and it just wanted to tip over a little bit. So I want it to be sturdier. I did reinforce that with a little extra hot glue there onto those. And then these are going to be the little legs for the wagon. So I'm just going to kind of glue those inside that white structure like that, one on each side. And I use Gorilla Glue hot glue. It works pretty well on wood. I have it hold up pretty well. So hopefully this will too. So this is what we have so far with my wheelbarrow construction. You can kind of see some excess hot glue on the bottom, but that's okay. You're not going to be able to see that. I wanted to be as strong as I possibly could make it. Now that's when I realized I needed my legs to be longer. So I need 2 more of the Jenga blocks to make my legs longer. And then the third Jenga block I'm going to be using instead of like the axle between my tire to make it stationary. So it is what it is. I tried to make the wheel turn. If it would have been like a chunkier wheel, it probably would have worked. So I'm just going to cut one of the Jenga blocks into like little squares. I just want little flat cubes of that. And I just use my miter scissors. They actually work pretty well on these little Jenga blocks from the Dollar Tree. And I got my miter scissors on Amazon too. I also have those linked in my Amazon shop. Once I cut down my little cubes, I'm then going to paint them white too. It's going to kind of blend in with the structure that is attached to the blue wheel. Kind of like that. So I'm just going to hot glue that onto the center of my tire. So I'll have a nice area to attach to both of the sides. Just like that. And as you can see, that's going to fit in there really nicely. It even kind of bows out a little bit, which is fine. It's just going to make it tighter. I'm going to hot glue one side at a time to try to make it a little bit stronger. So I glue it to that side. I let it sit for a bit, and then I go in and glue it to the other side. And hopefully that holds up. It definitely made it way more stable. It doesn't tip over like it was when I tried it with the axle. And then I needed to make these longer, so I'm just gluing the Jenga blocks end to end to make my legs longer. There is a little bit of a seam in them now, but that's okay because it made the wheelbarrow look way better because the back of it where the handles are should be taller. If you know what I mean, it needs to be kind of slanted down like that. Now, I did tell you I was going to put these outside. I'm going to put this on the table on my front porch. So I'm going to seal it with some Mod Podge gloss sealer. It's an acrylic sealer. And I'm just going to spray all over. Hopefully that's going to make it hold up a little bit better. And, you know, I use regular Mod Podge on it too. So the area I'm going to put it doesn't necessarily get wet unless it rains sideways, which it might. So we're going to fill it up with Dollar Tree flowers. I put 2 of the little foam blocks inside, and then I want to use some of the floral moss. I'm using the brown floral moss. That seems to be all I can find right now at Dollar Tree for some reason. And I definitely wanted to cover like the sides too where the star cutouts are so you can't see the green foam, and a little bit to cover the top as well. I picked up these flowers at the Dollar Tree. They are the Stars and Stripes flowers that they have every year for the 4th of July. And I'm just going to kind of alternate stars and stripes. And I think all 6 of them is going to fill this up nicely. Just pulling them off and using the little stem that's attached to push that down into the floral foam. So that's what it looks so far, but I wanted this project to scream 4th of July. So I'm going to use some of these little cupcake toppers. I love these. I think they look like exploding fireworks. These are also from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to do like 2 of those. One kind of like jetting out from the flowers on each side like little exploding fireworks. I think they look really festive and cute. And then I wanted something kind of taller for the middle of the planter. And so I was trying to see what I had from the Dollar Tree. I have like some dowels that actually have like stars on them. They're like glitter stars. They have red, white, and blue. This is the white one. The only problem is mine had a stain on it. You know, sometimes the Dollar Tree products do. And so I did like the white glitter, but I ended up having to paint the whole thing with white acrylic because of the stain. But that's okay. I'll leave the glittery side on the other side. It did give it like an interesting texture painting it. But I've got a lot of red and blue going on already. And so I thought a white star would look really cute as like a pick sticking out in the middle of the flowers just to make it even more festive. Now, it has like a rather big stick on it. I'm going to replace it with one of the skewers from the Dollar Tree just because it's skinnier and pointed. I thought that would be easier to stick down into the floral foam in the middle of that. And so I'm just going to remove this one and attach the new one. I did decide it was a little too long, so I trimmed it down a little bit more and just hot glued the skewer to the back of that foam star. And just put that right down here in the middle. So I've got fireworks, I've got flowers, I've got like a big white star in the middle. And I definitely think that this wheelbarrow screams 4th of July now. It was so fun to put together, a little trial and error with my design of the wheelbarrow. But I hope you guys love this one as much as you guys loved my little red wagon. That's one of your all's favorites. And so I wanted to give another little vehicle construction a try. This is how it turned out. I think it's so cute with that flag design on the side of it. Looks so festive for the 4th of July, especially with the flowers. Okay, we're doing outside, so I had to do a wreath for my front door, right? I picked up one of the star wreath forms from the Dollar Tree. These were not necessarily in the 4th of July section. They were just like in the Crafter Square section with the wreath forms. And I'm going to use Dollar Tree rope. So this is the 11-foot rope, but I don't want to wind it. I don't want to weave it. I want to try to make this easier if I can. So I'm going to try to cover like the outer star, the inner star, and the middle star, I guess, with rope. But I also need to do all the crossbars, which there's lots of them. And I don't really want to wrap them with string, but I want the look of that. So what I'm going to do is the first rope, I just went ahead and unwound it into 3 parts. Actually, just one of those parts was plenty to wrap all of the crossbars on this. And then we can go back in and add the other rope later. These are the 11-foot white rope, and I only ended up needing 2 packages for the whole wreath, so not very many. I'm going to start by flipping it over, and I'm going to glue it right here to get started on my first crossbar. Now, when I first started out, I didn't really know how long I needed this to be. So I spent like way too much time like kind of threading this through, where really you should just cut off a smaller piece. I learned after a little while that that would definitely be the easier way to do it. So as you can see, it just takes longer to string all this through. I don't know what I was thinking. I guess I was thinking that I would just keep doing one piece, but it makes it look like when the rope is kind of uncurled like this, it makes it look like I took string and just wound it all the way around. But as you can see, I didn't have to go around it very many times because of the width of the rope, which is one reason why I'm using this. You could also wrap it with like macrame cord and like white if you wanted to, but I was trying to stick with like a white rope pattern on this one. So same thing starting here. I do have to cut and start and stop on each one because I want all the other stars to be open and flat and ready for the rope. So I'm just starting, it doesn't matter, you can start on the point of your star or the inner part. It doesn't really matter because I'm just simply wrapping this around and cutting it off and kind of just hot gluing it to itself on the back to kind of hide where it starts and stops. And when I go over it with the rope on the stars, I think it will kind of hide a lot of that behind it. Now, at first I thought about painting the rope after I put this together and kind of making it look like a star and stripe pattern like a flag. But I really loved how the rope turned out. So I actually left the rope as is and just added more patriotic touches to it. So we're just going to keep doing those crossbars all the way around. It definitely got easier once I started cutting the pieces, making them shorter like that, and I can just pull them right through. And I guess there's a lot of them. Every like inner part and outer part of the star is going to have one of those crossbars. And I want all of them to be wrapped because I don't want you to be able to see any of the wreath form sticking out. I love Dollar Tree like wreath forms like this, and sometimes I like to weave them. It would be a little bit more difficult to weave this one because of all of the strange angles and stuff like that on it. And so I thought this was a fun, easy way to DIY it, and I absolutely love how it turned out. It looks really high end. So this was probably the most time-consuming part of it, was just wrapping those inner parts. But again, if you cut the little strands smaller, it's definitely faster. Now, this rope is longer. It's the 11-foot. It's kind of skinny. I was trying to make sure that it's going to cover the wire wreath form well without any of the wire wreath form showing. And it looks like it will. So I'm glad that I used this one because it's a lot longer. It's going to go a lot farther. I am going to have like a rough end here where I have the end of the rope. I'm just going to make sure I do that the same all the way around on every star. And then I'm going to have that actually be the top of my star wreath. And I can kind of cover that when I adorn this. So just starting by hot gluing it there to the tip and then hot gluing it to the metal. It's really kind of important to put like a silicone mat or something down like I have underneath that. Because your hot glue is not going to stick to that, and you can just put the glue on the top of it like that and put the rope right on there. If you don't have a silicone mat, just maybe you might need to pick it up a little bit so it doesn't glue it to whatever surface you're working on underneath. And we're doing the large star first, and I'm just doing one section at a time so my hot glue doesn't set up or anything. And then I'm making sure I get it centered on there really well because, again, I didn't want to see any of this dark metal wreath form. And you can kind of see the cool star pattern forming on this. I'm always looking for new ways and materials to DIY these wreath forms from the Dollar Tree and new ways to do it. So this is a fun new way. I really love how it turned out. So again, I want my rough edge of my star to be in the same part. So I started the same place. I started my outer star, and we're just going to glue one section at a time to do the inner. And like I said, I only used 2 packages of rope. So this method without wrapping and weaving definitely takes less rope. So it's a little bit more economical on that front as well. So we have 2 of the 3 stars wrapped in rope. The little one in the middle should be really easy. Again, I just start and stop at the same part of my star so I can kind of cover that up. I don't want you to be able to see any of those rough edges. And we just glue this all the way around. Now, in my initial idea, I was going to paint the top left quadrant blue, and then I was going to do red flag stripes on the rest of it. But once I got it all put together like this, I really loved the simplicity of just the rope. So let's just decorate it with a patriotic bow from the Dollar Tree. These are really cute. They're like kind of a burlap base. And so I'm just going to take a little bit of macrame cord and tie a loop here just to make a hanger for my wreath here on the top. That looks a little too long. I don't want to hang it that low, so I'm going to shorten it just a little bit. And that makes a perfect little wreath hanger. And then it's just a matter of adorning it with that beautiful bow. Look how pretty that is. It's like got plastic on the back of it, so hopefully it will hold up well to weather. It has like a metal bread tie, which I'm not a big fan of, but I don't think you'll be able to see it. And it's functional, so I decided just to go ahead and go with that. So I'm just getting it untangled and kind of even. I'm going to tie it on that top like crossbar like that with the bread tie. You could always use twine if you didn't want to use this like kind of junky bread tie on it, but it actually seemed to work pretty well. So I started by kind of tying it towards the top. I did like it a little bit lower, but since I have it on that crossbar, I was able to kind of wiggle it around and move it and adjust it until I'm super happy with it. That's what it looks like at the very tip. And I was trying to decide if I wanted it there, if I needed to move it. But again, I could just slide it down just a little bit here. And I got it like right where I wanted it. And I think that provides the fun flag stripe pattern on there, but you still get to see all the beautiful rope and the pattern that we made there on the star wreath. It's not a huge wreath, but I think it's kind of perfect for the 4th of July. Very simple, but it looks like really like high end and beautiful. I love it. You have like all of your like 3 stars inside of each other. I just think it looks really fun for 4th of July, but also super festive with that fun bow. And those bows from the Dollar Tree, I think it's a great deal for $1.25 for them. They're really nice. Now, have you seen the door banners this year? These are really nice. I couldn't believe how well these are made. I'm not going to have to do hardly anything to this. It is almost the perfect size to cover the glass next to my front door. And it has the stars in the stripe pattern, has a built-in hanger on the top. The only thing I was afraid of is that the wind in Florida, it's going to be going all over the place, and I want it to be weighed down. So that's basically the only thing I'm going to do to this. I picked up some Dollar Tree craft wood. It's a little smaller than the width of it, which is going to be perfect. There are like grommets built in the bottom of it. I don't really have any nails or screws with heads that big, so I'm just going to attach it with hot glue on the back and basically weighing it down like you would weigh down like a curtain or something like that to keep this from flying around and keep it on my window next to my front door. So easy to put together. They also have these with like words on them and stuff like that. I kind of like the simplicity of just the flag pattern like that. And I'm going to go outside and hang it at night, even though it's nighttime, because I wanted to show you how it looked. We're just going to turn on the porch light here to kind of show you. If it was just a little bit longer, it would cover the entire window. But you can see how well it fits in that section. I only have one of those on one side of my front door. So if you had one on both, you could do it on both. It would look really pretty. And as you can see with my light on inside my house at night, it even lights up. So that's really fun. Now, the next DIY, I picked up 3 of these little flag buckets from the Dollar Tree. This is actually something from the 4th of July aisle, and I think they're so cute. And then I picked up some of the Dollar Tree fireworks. We don't like to go too crazy with our fireworks in our home because, you know, they're expensive. My son has some sensory issues, so he's not a big fan of things that explode. So these are going to be perfect for our home. And I picked up some of these little glitter star picks. I thought these are really pretty too. They're red, white, and blue glitter, and they're already on like a dowel. So I thought these would be perfect to make labels for the fireworks for like a 4th of July celebration. So the first one that I did was the poppets. I'm just going to go ahead and leave them in the box because they're kind of messy. They have all that like, you know, sawdust or whatever it is in there with them. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave them in their box. I just want to kind of use the star as a label. I wanted to do 3 of these. And so I went to my Cricut and I'll try to find, I'll link the Cricut file. This is a Cricut Design Space font that I used. It's one of the new BTC ones. I think it's, I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. BTC Spark maybe. And I just cut out some Cricut vinyl with that to make little labels for them. So I'm going to have them say snap, crackle, and pop. I thought that was really fun for the 4th of July. So I'm going to use my paper, transfer paper that I get on Amazon. I always have that linked in the description below. And we are going to go ahead and put this on here. Now, I didn't expect the glitter to be like so hard for stickers to stick to. The vinyl did pretty good, but I did have to use stickers on one of these and it was hard to get it to stick to it. But there is our little snap star, and I thought that would be good with the poppets. I know poppets say pop, but I have another idea for the pop. So snap, because they kind of make a snapping noise when you like throw them on the ground, right? And I wasn't sure about leaving those in the box, but I went ahead and decided to do that. Now on the next one, we're going to do crackle is the word that I did. So we're going to just weed that vinyl as well. And we can do that one on the blue glitter star. And for crackle, we're going to do sparklers because they kind of crackle, right, when they burn. So I thought that would be really fun. And we always love sparklers. We've actually already done some that we found stored away from last year. They're so fun. You never get too old for sparklers, right? So this is our little blue glitter star, and I'm going to use that transfer paper to put crackle on this one. Now, I wasn't thinking, I did white because I thought white would be great for the vinyl on Snap, Crackle, and Pop, but one of the stars is white. So, you know, that's not going to work unless I do like an offset or something like that. But I found a solution to that problem here in just a second. So there's our crackle word. The vinyl stuck fairly well considering I used stickers for the last one, and that was actually kind of really difficult. Now, these are the sparklers they have this year at the Dollar Tree. So I picked up 3 packages of those. They're really small little boxes, I guess, to kind of like make like individual, like maybe party favors with them. But I'm just going to leave them in the box and put the crackle star in there to label that fireworks. And these are great because they're decorations for the 4th of July, but then on the 4th of July or whenever, you can always use these items as well. So decorative art. Now for the pop. Here is the white glitter star, and I was like, oh, white on white's not going to work, but I actually had some blue letter stickers that I found from the Dollar Tree, so we're going to try these out. I think they would work better if you were going to put them on a surface that's not like glitter foam, but I'm going to do pop on this one with blue so that you can read it, so POP on this one. I found that like the sticker like comes off like as fast as you touch the glitter on these, but I'm trying my best to like lay those down on there, but I could tell it was gonna like fall off like immediately. So once I get it on there, I decide to Mod Podge it to glue it down, and that works, but it was a little challenging because
once I got it wet, it made like the letters like stick even less. So let me show you that. I just kind of push it down. See how they like all just want to go all over the place, but I am determined we are going to have a pop sign. So I just kind of push those back down into the Mod Podge with my fingers to get that to glue on there. But using those little glitter stars as signs, I think, is a great idea because I was not sure what I'm going to do with those. And like on the snap one and on the pop one, I do use my miter scissors just to cut those down a little bit to make different heights. And for the pop, we're going to use the little party poppers they have in with the fireworks for the 4th of July section. And 2 bags, I think, is going to fit perfectly in this one. And we have our 4th of July fireworks ready. And it's a cute little decoration to decorate for the 4th of July. All the DIYs I did today, I wanted to do quick, easy ones from the Dollar Tree. But also, you know, I wanted to get a little bit creative with them as well. So here is our little snap, crackle, and pop American flag buckets.
And they're very versatile. You could put anything in them. They would even look cute instead of firecrackers and stuff like that, that you could do candy and stuff like that. But those little star picks are really cute, and I always love decorating with those little flag buckets. They're so easy. Hey guys, are you enjoying today's video so far? If you are, be sure to hit that like button. It always helps my videos do a little bit better here on YouTube. Okay, here's another 4th of July party DIY.
Now, this idea, I love it. I found these little American flag foldable fans at the Dollar Tree, and I thought that would be really cute to cover a wall with those. That'd be really fun for a 4th of July decor or for a 4th of July party. So I picked up 5 of them, and I'm going to use some thumbtacks, and let me show you how I put those on my wall. So I fanned this one to the left, and then this one to the right. I thought that I would just kind of walk those up the wall. So I alternated this one here on the right, and one on the left, and then another one on the right, walking their way up the wall, but all kind of upright. And I think it looks great for like a backdrop for a 4th of July party behind like a party table, or just for 4th of July decor. I put this above my snap, crackle, and pop.
And they really look cute tying it all together. For the tablecloth there, I used a tablecloth. I think I got that at TJ Maxx, the blue with white stars. But I think it looks really festive, and it was so easy to do.
Okay, the next DIY, I picked up a couple of these tinsel stars from the 4th of July section at Dollar Tree, and I thought we would give them a makeover. Now, I wanted quick, easy, so we're not going to take the tinsel off and replace it with something, but I thought we could make it look, you know, a little bit more high-end as a party decoration. So the first step is just trying to get the little paper stars off. I just used my heat gun to kind of melt the hot glue that was on there because I'm wanting to remove all of the stars, but I don't want to damage any of the tinsel because I want to reuse it for this DIY. And as you can see, I have some blue spray paint there, and that is just some blue spray paint that I had like in my stash. And I thought we could kind of remake these, make these look a little bit more simple. When I say high-end, more like Target party decorations, less like Dollar Tree party decorations, if you know what I mean. So I got all of my stars off of those, and so I am just going to grab these, take these outside, and spray paint them. I wanted to do just like something a little bit more solid than the pattern and to take away like that tinsely shine on them. So this is the paint that I use. It is a gloss. It's kind of like a royal blue, and I wasn't sure how all those different colors would paint, but 2 coats of spray paint, I think they look really good. I was really surprised the red and white sections kind of look the same as the blue sections. And they kind of look good as is, and I thought about just using them as blue, but I have all of these white stickers that we made on the Cricut, right? And so I thought we would do like a flag star pattern on them. Would be easy to do. So I'm using those 1-inch white stickers that we made, and I do 1 in the point, 2 above that on each of the star rays. And then I will fill in the middle of it as well, kind of keeping that same pattern. So that's all 5 rays. At first I wasn't sure how to do it, but then I kind of figured it out. One kind of in each section there, and that kind of repeats that star pattern. So we're going to do the same thing here on star number 2. And I think they do look better. What do you guys think? I'm not a big fan of these, but I wanted some easy DIY. And so I didn't really want to take everything off and replace everything on the cage because that would not be that easy, right? Now, I decided they look really cute together. So I thought I would just display them together, like hang them together. They do have the little hangers still on top. So I take some Dollar Tree twine and I'm just going to tie off a hanger for the top. And then I am just going to tie them together. So I'll use that hanger. I'll put this one like below it like that. And just kind of put it through the plastic cage like right here in the middle. And tie that off up there. And then I can tie off the other end for the hanger. And we have a little bit more high-end party decor, but using 2 items from the Dollar Tree. I'll have to remember painting these. It's definitely a different technique than I usually do on these little tinsel items from the Dollar Tree, but I think it turned out pretty good for a party decoration. What do you guys think? So let me show you how those look hanging. I'm really impressed with how well they spray painted because that was such an easy way to change the color of these, but I think they look really pretty.
Normally, I'm not a big fan of the tinsel items like this from the Dollar Tree, but hey, maybe I'll try painting more of them because I think they turned out really cute.
Now, the next DIY is going to be so easy. This is just a quick, easy way that you can make an outdoor sign. You could use it indoor too, but it's going to be weatherproof, so you could use it outdoors. And I found this great bag at the 4th of July section this year at Dollar Tree, and it's these little patriotic gnomes. They're like holding stars, flags, pie. So cute. Let me guess. I guess that would be apple pie. And I am just going to cut the image off of the front. I want to try to save as much of that as I can. And there's even like little fireworks on top. The colors are really pretty and it's made out of this like plastic material. So that's why I think it will work outside. I'm also going to cut off the straps from the top, but I want to leave that like seam line at the top because it's got part of the fireworks on there. And then I'm just going to use 2 of these little 5-gallon paint stick stirrers from the Walmart, actually. One of the few items I buy at Walmart. And they are just the perfect length if you cut off the handle on these. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take both of these little paint stir sticks to my saw and just do a simple cut to cut those off. I think that's going to work well. And that's going to provide me like structure for the top and weight for the bottom to keep it flat and hanging straight. And the material is fairly thick too. So as you can see, it doesn't wrinkle or anything like that. And it's such a cute design. I had to use this for a sign. So I'm going to kind of straighten up the line on the bottom because I don't think I cut it out super straight. And then I'll show you how easy this is to put together. So I want to attach that on top of the wood so that you can see the full pattern of the fireworks up there. And to make the hanger, I just took some Dollar Tree twine, tied a knot in each end, and I'm actually going to attach it now right where the handles were. That way it'll be nice and centered. And just using my staple gun, decided to shorten it up a bit here. And I'm going to put that through there where the knot is on the other side of the wood and staple that on. It's going to attach that to the wood sign, but it's also going to attach my hanger so I don't have to do a hanger later. And then maybe a few staples on the side. This is thick enough for my staple gun, the little paint sticks from the Dollar Tree, not the Dollar Tree, Walmart. I wish they sold these at the Dollar Tree. They should. And then I just staple that to the bottom paint stick stir as well. And we have a really easy 4th of July sign that would hold up well outside because it is kind of like this weatherproof, plasticky material. But I think it looks really pretty. What do you guys think? Can't get much easier than that for a 4th of July DIY. And I love the images of the little gnomes. Look how cute they are. I think the girl gnome is like drinking maybe pink lemonade.
It's really cute, and I love taking those bags from the Dollar Tree and trying to find other uses for them. I really hope you enjoyed these 12 4th of July Dollar Tree DIYs. I had such a great time crafting and putting this video together for you. Let me know which DIY was your favorite down in the comments below, or just come say hello. And don't forget to check out my second channel, Crafty Little Beach, for individual DIYs on your phone. Enjoy the final reveal. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of today's 4th of July crafting DIY video. I'd also love to thank all of my members for supporting my YouTube channel. Thank you to Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Susan Edmonds, Janae Farrington, Pamelia Wren, Donna Schreiner, I Am Mojo Jojo, Marin Christensen, Adrian Brolt, Donna Tanner, Kim Rogers, Maria Cruz Pagan, Pal Puppy Life, Renee Albanese, Lori Hollingsworth, Mindy Hupp, and Jenny. I appreciate you all so much. If you would like to become a Crafty Beach Bum member, all you have to do is hit the join button next to today's video on your phone or your computer. And you're going to get early ad-free access to my videos, a badge next to your name when you comment down below, and a shout out in every video. And we would love to see what you've been crafting for the 4th of July. Be sure to show off your DIYs with us. In our private Facebook group, it's always linked in the description of my videos, as well as other useful links like my Amazon shop as well. Would you like more 4th of July crafting inspiration? Be sure to check out one of these videos right here. And until next time, happy crafting.